Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Keeping It Encouraging with Nisha. Just coming in this morning just to drop a quick encouraging word to you all as I encourage myself as well. Let me know how you're doing. How was your week so far? I know we made it through hump. What is it? Hump day, hump week, whatever. Whoop, whoop. Anyway, we almost there to the weekend. So yes, this week I posed a question, and the question was, how do you define joy? Like, what does joy mean to you? A lot of times we as people, we equate joy with happiness, and we think joy is when, something happens to us or for us or in our favor. And, those things aren't bad, but is that truly what joy means? And so we're just going to talk about it real quick. So, joy. I'm going to answer the question that I posed to you all. Joy to me is like an anchor. Joy to me is the ability to still see the good in spite of what I'm going through. And it's the ability to still rejoice in spite of what's going on around me. It's the ability to be sure in my knowledge of who God is versus, my limitations. And so that's what joy means to me. Joy is like an anchor. It helps to keep your ship stable, when the winds and waves are blowing. And so let's talk about it. Let's talk about joy. Joy. Okay, so I looked up joy in the Greek and the Hebrew. And so in altogether, joy means cheerfulness. Joy means calm, delight, gladness, rejoicing. Joy is internal from the eternal one and can be seen outwardly. So that's kind of my little spin to it. Like, joy is internal from the eternal one that can be expressed outwardly. But it's internal. Like, it's a assurance. It's a trust there with joy, because you're not trusting in yourself. You're not trusting in the things that are going on around you. You are trusting in the Lord. And so when your trust and your hope and your assurance and your confidence is in the Lord, no matter what season you go through, no matter what trial you find yourself in, you can still have joy. With all of the turbulence that is going on in the world, with all of the unsettledness, and even in our own lives, everyone is going through something somewhere, you know what I mean? And we still can have joy, because joy does not come from ourselves, but it comes from the Lord. And so I love in Nehemiah 8 and 10, it says, "The joy of the Lord is my strength." In other words, and then I like to piggyback off of that scripture with another scripture in Psalm 16. It talks about, in his presence there's fullness of joy, and at his right hand there are pleasures forevermore. Joy is a fruit of the Spirit. It's not from us. It doesn't come from things happen. We can have joy when things happen to us, but that's not the root. The root of joy is in the one that, is able to keep us, able to give us strength, able to direct us, able to fortify us, able to fix the situation, able to deliver us, able to hear us, able to provide for us. That's where our joy comes from. It comes from his Spirit. Happiness comes from the things that are around us that happen to us. We get a new house, we're happy. We get a new car, we're happy. Get a new job, we're happy. We get some kind of reward or promotion, or even sometimes healing. We get happy. But sometimes those things that we get happy about are so temporal and fleeting. They can be here one season and gone the next, and we have no control over that. So our joy does not rest in those things that happen to us, but it rests in the one that has control over all. And so, joy. Let's continue to examine ourselves and ask ourselves, do we really have joy? Do we really have joy? When we get up in the morning, are we glad? Are we rejoicing? Are we joyful? If not, then we have to ask ourselves why. I love in James, it tells us to count it all. Give me 1 second, because one thing I don't like to do is butcher the scriptures. It says, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. Okay? But let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect, entire, and wanting nothing. Count it joy when you go through diverse temptations, which means trials. It's another word for trials. Count it all joy. And someone would say, how can I count it all joy when I lose my job? How can I count it all joy when I have sickness in my body? How can I count it all joy when I'm going through mentally? How? You have to go back to the one that gives the joy, the source of joy. You have to go back to the source of joy. In his presence, there is fullness of joy. So in his presence, there can be an exchange of anxiety for joy, an exchange for heaviness for joy, exchange for anger for joy. There can be an exchange, but it doesn't come of yourself. It comes from the source, the giver of joy. Okay? So how can I rejoice? How can I be glad when I'm going through a trial? Because I go get in his presence. Because I go back to the one that is the giver and the source of my joy. If my job or my anything temporal is the source of my joy, I ain't gonna have much. It doesn't have the ability to fulfill me. Money does not have the ability to fulfill me. You know, nothing temporal has the ability to fulfill me. I have to go to the source, the one who can fulfill all of my needs and voids, and also the one that can shift my perspective. Because sometimes the reason why we don't have joy is because we have the wrong perspective about the trial. And so again, we got to go back to the source and allow him to open up our eyes and give us understanding. Allow him to soften our heart towards certain situations and people. Allow him to show us the end goal, you know, because the word tells us that his plans are for our good, not for evil, to bring us to an expected end. So again, joy. Let's continue to talk about it. I hope that this word today has encouraged you as it has encouraged me. It has also caused me to examine myself, because there are days where it's just like I can be flustered, I can be frustrated, or, you know, whatever the case may be. But if I know the source, I should be able to receive and walk in the joy that he gives me, you know. So then I have to check myself. Am I in his presence? Am I seeing this right? Because the trials have a purpose. The trying of our faith has a purpose. Patience has a purpose. So if these things are coming, could it be to try my joy? You know, if we're supposed to walk in the fruit of the Spirit, and one of the fruits is joy, certain things are going to try you and to help prune you so that you can develop in those areas. So anyway, again, I hope that this encouraged you. Take some time, you know, over the next couple of days and, you know, check your joy meter. Where are you at in the joy level? Do you have it? Do you not? Have you been in his presence? What are you going to do to get that joy? And remember, no matter what comes our way, we have the source, Jesus Christ, the giver of our joy. Y'all have a great day. Again, see you next week for Keeping It Encouraging with Nisha. We're going to stay on this joy topic for a little bit and deal with it, you know, or allow God to deal with us rather. All right. Love y'all. Bye.